Alright guys, so in this section 1.11, excuse me, the goal is the same. It is solving an equation, which means trying to find or isolate one variable. In the section 1.10, we isolate x only. In this section, we have a formula, and the formula is just basically an equation made of several variables. And the point is to isolate one of them. So instead to deal with numbers, you are going to deal with letters. And so you will apply exactly the same rule that you apply in the section 1.10 in this section 1.11. Let me give you let me solve with you some of the problem, page 44. So I want to do the problem number 5. On this problem number 5, they are giving you the variable e and telling you that the variable e is equal to I multiplied by r. It's an equation that you can find in electricity, and r is the variable that you want to isolate. So it's going to be the same thing. If you want to isolate y, because you have a multiplication, what do you need to do? Yes, you're right. You need to divide by I both sides. And therefore, I is going to divide out. And therefore, now you are going to have r equal e over I. Let's try to do another one. If I want to do the problem number 7, on the problem number 7, we got lowercase r multiplied by uppercase L equal G2 minus G1. And you want to, in this problem, isolate G1. If you want to isolate G1, you need to get rid of the G2, and then you will have to get rid of the negative in front of the G1, which is right now a subtraction sign. So first and foremost, if I want to get rid of the G2, I will have to subtract by G2 both sides. If I subtract by G2 both sides, now I end up to have RL minus G2 equal negative G1. What is the negative right here? The negative right here is negative 1 multiplied by G1. Okay? Remember that. So, because you have negative 1 multiplied by G1, I must divide by negative 1. And so I must divide everything by negative 1 also on the left side of my equation. You will notice that I'm using a parenthesis because I'm dealing with a negative number. Now, of course, negative 1 divided by negative 1 disappear. Remember, this negative right here corresponds to a negative 1 multiplied by G. And now, if I look at on the other side, R multiplied by L minus G2, everything is divided by negative 1 equal G1. I could leave my answer this way, but what you need to remember is very simple. When you have A divided by B and you have negative B, well, it's going to be also equal to negative A over B. So all of this left side could be also negative R times L minus G2 equal G1, and remember, divided by 1. But when you divide by 1, it doesn't change anything. So ultimately, it's like if you have negative R times L minus G2 in between parentheses equal G1. And what do you want to do if you want to get rid of the parentheses and if you have a negative in front of your parentheses? You want to flip all the sign inside your parentheses. So plus RL is going to become minus RL, and so G1 is going to be equal to negative RL plus G2, because the minus G2 with the minus, when you distributing your minus, everything change inside your parentheses. So let's try to do problem number 10. On the problem number 10, what do we have? On the problem number 10, we have P equal 2 pi multiplied by T multiplied by F. And the question is isolate T. If you want to isolate T, use your eyes. You have an equation. There is multiplication in between every variable and numbers. If you want to isolate t, that means you need to get rid of the 2 pi and the f. Because you have a multiplication, you need to divide by 2 pi f. F divided by f, pi divided by pi, 2 divided by 2. But if you divide by 2 pi f on the right, you need to divide by 2 pi f on the left. Therefore, t will be equal to p over 2 pi f. Let's try to do another one, problem number 14. On the problem number 14, we're having p equal 4f over p d square. And the question is, you need to isolate f. If you want to isolate f, what do you need to get rid of? You need to get rid of the 4, you need to get rid of the pi, you need to get rid of the d square. So if you want to get rid of the 4, well, if you divide by 4, 4 divided by 4 will be cancelled out. So that means you need to divide by 4 on the left side. If you multiply by pi, pi divided by pi cancel out. So you need to multiply by pi. Also on the left side. And if you multiply by d square on the right side, d square cancel out. And so you need to multiply by d square on the left side. Therefore now you end up to have at the end that f equal pi p d square over 4. Alright? Let me try to do another one because I think you will appreciate the problem number 16. On the problem number 16, we are dealing with u equal negative e lowercase capital uppercase L divided by 2 times lowercase m. So if you want to isolate L, I need to get rid of the e. If I want to get rid of the e, I divide by e. E will divide out, so I will divide by e. I need to get rid of the negative 1, so I need to divide by negative 1. So I need to divide by negative 1. Negative 1, negative. Then I need to multiply by 2. Because 2 divided by 2, the 2 disappear. And I need to multiply by m also because the m disappears. So I need to multiply by 2 times m also on the left side. Therefore now my L is standing by itself. And I end up to have L equal 2 times m times u divided by e multiplied by negative 1. It's negative e. So you could also write that as negative 2m times u over e. Let's try problem number 20 because the problem number 20 is very interesting because now the variable you are looking for is on the denominator of a fraction. So the problem number 20 is b equal, this letter is mu 0 times I over 2 pi r. I have a multiplication right here, I have a multiplication right there. So we can apply the same rule. Let's try to rewrite that bigger. B equal mu 0 times I over 2 pi r. If you want to have r by itself, first of all, that means that you are looking for r equal question mark. That's what you are looking for. But right now, r is on the denominator, correct? So because r is on the denominator, you need to have r on the top of your fraction. So if you want to have r on the top of a fraction, well, you know what? If I multiply by r both sides of my equation, the r on the bottom disappear because it's divided out. But now on the left side, I have r by itself. Well, not by itself. R on the top, what I'm looking for. Mainly what I just need to do now is divide by b. Because by dividing by b, b divide out and r is standing by itself. So what I want to do is very simple. I want to multiply by r both sides. Therefore, r divide out on the right side of my equation. And I want to divide by b both sides. And when I divide by b both sides, b divide out on the left side of my equation. And now r equal to mu 0 I over 2 pi times b. Okay? Let's try to do problem number 29. So if I want to do the problem number 29, what am I going to do? And I want to do that in blue. Number 29. On the problem number 29, we got T2 equal T1 minus H over 100. So if I'm looking to isolate H, I need to get rid of T1, I need to get rid of the negative in front of the H, and I need to get rid of the 100. Before to take care of the negative and the 100, I need to get rid of the T1 by subtracting T1 both sides. When I subtract T1 both sides, I end up to have T2 minus T1 equal negative H over 100. And now it's going to be very easy to get rid of the negative because I know I need to divide by negative 1. Negative H, it's negative 1 multiplied by H. Negative H, remember, it's just negative 1 multiplied by H. So when you have that divided by 100, it's like if you have negative 1 multiplied by H divided by 100. So if you want to get rid of the negative 1, you need to divide by negative 1 on the bottom. This is what I've done right here. So technically right now, I can clearly say the negative disappear. But if I divide by negative 1, I need to divide by negative 1 on the left side also. And if I want to get rid of the 100, I need to multiply by 100 on the top of this equation. Because 100 divided by 100, the 100 divide out, and now I have H by itself. But that means I need to multiply by 100. Be careful. If you multiply the left side, that means you multiply everything. Therefore, you must use a parenthesis. Now, you have a negative on the bottom. Remember that when you have A over negative B, it's the same thing than negative A over B. Therefore, I can pretty much easily say it's going to be negative 100 times T2 minus T1 equal H. Obviously, usually we don't like to let the negative in the front like it is right now. So we might want to distribute the negative inside my parentheses. And therefore, the plus T2 is going to become negative T2 and the negative T1 is going to become plus T1. So if I distribute, I'm going to have 100 times T1 minus T2 equal H. Plus T1 because negative multiplied by negative T1 give me plus T1. And negative by plus T2 give me negative T2. Alright guys, so I think I covered pretty much a lot of problems in this section 11 1.11. I'm downloading that on the YouTube channel and I will move on to the section 1.12.